Hello, welcome back to another Q&A, the show where I answer questions that you guys asked about Hearthstone Battlegrounds. We got a lot of questions, so let's just jump straight into it. First one I got was by Deryl. I'd like to get a little info or guide on how to play Deryl, and this is something I actually got quite a lot from a lot of people. Deryl is a hero that has been in the game for a while. It's a good tempo hero, but some people don't know how to optimize him best or how to get the most value out of the hero power. So I'll be making a full guide very soon. I got a lot of stuff to work on still, but expect a video on Deryl in the near future. But in short, how I play him, if you've not seen one of my streams yet, because I played him a little bit in the last few days, because this meta is good for Deryl. It's a tempo meta. Just know what the good units are to dance on. Generally, these are the Divine Shield units on tier 3, like Bronze Warden, Cyclone, and Deflectobot. On tier 4, it could be a Hydra, it could be a Module. There's a lot of things to dance on. And try to optimize your economy. Play greedy as long as your health allows it. If you drop too low, you'll have to dance for tempo. But you can take tokens, you can take whatever you can, hoard as much in hand as possible, and buy out the shop, dance on one unit, make it really big, and then look for another unit. Don't waste too much gold rolling, because that gold can better be spent buying units, so you sell it for more buffs. So just try to play greedy, do big dances on premium units, and that's how I generally play Deryl. Next up we got Mod. Next up we got Mod. Should there be a hero rotation once we get to a certain number of heroes available? Do you think obviously underpowered champions should be buffed or retired? That happens already. Heroes that are too weak or too strong get retired. Look at Hooktusk. She was too weak, she got buffed, then she got nerfed again, and then retired. So Blizzard already buffs weak heroes from time to time and retires heroes, and I don't think hero rotation is ever going to be a thing, but so far whenever Blizzard introduces heroes, they also take out heroes. Like we got new heroes, they also take out heroes, so generally the pool stays relatively the same. I don't think we'll ever have like 100 different heroes, in which case they could do rotation, but I don't think it actually matters, or I don't think rotations for heroes will ever happen, and I also don't think it's necessary at all, so I don't expect it now. Evan Steele, is it ever worth saving tech cards in hand on the off chance you might need to use them? Don't feel like a goal you pick up on turn 7 and then play on the field turn 15? No. On turn 7, especially like the example I gave, especially in that example, don't do it. On 7 gold, you still want to spend all your gold on tempo. If you spend 3 gold on something that's not gonna matter, like that you're not gonna play, then you're so behind on everyone else. You can pick tech cards like ghouls in the late game, because late game, yeah, if you have a Georgian lover or someone who plays Mechs, it can literally save you the game. So pick tech cards late game. Early game, spend all your gold on leveling and tempo, or you just fall behind. If you spent that 3 gold on the ghoul early on, you're probably not even gonna make it into the late game, so you're not even gonna end up playing the ghoul. So don't buy tech cards, you just hold in hand for later on. And then we got, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but maybe Google can help me. Do you think spells can be balanced? I felt like the turn 4 spell gave a lot more heroes a better chance to stabilize against the stronger heroes, but the turn 8 spell made the high roll aspects unfun. So this is a very talked about topic, spells. I even put a poll on YouTube, and it's exactly 50-50 to people who like spells and want them to stay, and people who are happy they're gone. So I think it's really 50-50 on whether spells, like people like spells or not. I think the biggest takeaway is that spells were fun. They had a cool thing that we've never seen in Battlegrounds, but they were really unbalanced at the moment. They could be balanced, like spells only benefit the people who are behind and not the people who are ahead. I think they were a really good idea or a good concept for people that are behind. But right now they also benefit people who are ahead, and that was just broken. And the least that gets double Kalik on turn 8 should not happen, right? It allowed the meta to be as toxic as it was. So I think maybe they're balanceable, but it's really hard. I've talked about this with other people, and no one really had like a clear solution. There were suggestions of like maybe this spell only gives this and stuff like that. But we're not a balancing team. We can't play it tested. I think spells were cool, but they should have indeed done more of an effort to balance it. I think they should introduce something new though. Spells are fun, but maybe a new mechanic comes into the game and shakes things up and makes things fun again. Because that's what spells were to most people. People think the meta slowed down too much, but people got too attached to the fast meta that we happened previously. So guys, don't worry, you'll get used to it. Also, a quick reminder, if you haven't yet liked the video, it is highly appreciated, as it takes 1 second and helps me out a lot. If you enjoy the content, of course. If you don't enjoy the content, then you can just keep watching. I don't care. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you're new, if you want to catch more guides, more Battlegrounds content. And of course, if you want to support me more, you can also now become a member and get bonus content and tier lists and stuff like that. You can check it out down below. Now we got Dylan Morris. I'm having a hard time scaling. Most games by turn 7, 8, and 9, I still seem to have little to no direction. Any tips? So I'm going to guide you to my mid-game guide, first of all, because in that guide, I specifically talk about direction, all the direction in the game that you can hit. Some direction, like Floating Watcher, is now removed, but overall, if you don't have direction yet, then keep in mind that there is direction on tier 3 and 4 as well. By turn 7, 8 or 9, you should be on tier 4, maybe even tier 5, because this is already like around the 10 gold turn. Direction can be even a deflectable that you rolled early. Like if you really don't hit anything else, just see what you got already or got offered and try to make it work. We're currently not on a meta where you can't always rely on getting the good direction, like Kaligos, Lil Rag, Bran. Sometimes you just don't hit that. There's games that I win on tier 4 with just stupid jungbot stuff and taunt stuff. So if you don't hit clear direction, try to figure out a way that you can get the strongest possible with Kirajis or with Arm of Empires. So things have changed in a sense where you don't necessarily need the super aggressive scaling anymore. So if you don't find that, don't panic. It's fine. Just get strong. If it's turn 7, 8 or 9 and you still don't have anything going, then I should also definitely send you to my leveling guide, because you're probably not leveling properly. You're probably behind on tier, and because on really low tiers you're never going to find anything. So make sure you level properly and have the pairs and triples to work with. Next up is Pasanius92. What are your feelings about the ranked system? Ranging from 0 up to 14k, where most people, even 15k or 16k in some cases already, where most are probably around the 4.7k range, feels odd and ungraspable. I totally agree. I think we have a really shitty MMR system. I've talked about this in the past in other videos, but yeah, I don't understand why we have this weird MMR numbers and ranked has this cool fancy like gold, silver. Like why, Blizzard? There's so many Battlegrounds players. There's such a cool game. Why is our ranked system so messed up? Our hidden MMR, like we have two different MMRs, the normal and the hidden MMR, which is also in ladder, but our hidden MMR got exploited with, like, there were multiple exploits back in the day. We never got a full reset. They're never gonna do a full reset. I totally agree. It's ungraspable. I think we have a shitty system and they should rework it completely. But yeah, who am I to do something? I'm not a dev. I can't change anything. I also don't have, like, I have a couple suggestions, but I don't know how good they are. But yeah, I talked about this again in a previous, I think, Yepod episode or another Q&A. I think it was a Q&A, which I'll also link top right over here. But yeah, it's crazy how we don't have a ceiling. Ranks keeps going up, the gap keeps getting bigger, and people is like, it's really hard for people to catch up to the people on the leaderboard. It is what it is. Michael Gomez: do you think Hearthstone is trying too hard to make taunt builds viable? Yes, taunt builds were good. If you look at how my meta recap, or where I go over the patch notes, I talk about taunt build and how I feel like it's all overkill. Taunts were strong, they were playable, the meta was gonna slow down, and then you make it stronger, and right now it is the meta. I've won so many games with stupid taunts on tier 3 and 4 and mechs, which if they didn't do those specific buffs, I think they were still playable, but you would see more like menageries and more Kaligos builds, like more diversity, instead of just everyone having Kirajis on the board and Arm of Empires. Now, some people might disagree, because I know some people are not in favor of taunt builds and still think that going for Kaligos and stuff like that is better and Arm of Empire isn't that good, but I beg to differ. This has been my best meta yet. I'm almost sitting at my peak, currently 13.5, just by almost forcing taunt builds and mechs because it's so damn strong. Yeah, I think they overtuned it a little bit, just a little bit. Nothing we can do about it, right? They tried definitely too hard. Then you have an way underscore. What are the most common mistakes you see players making in the current meta post-patch? This is a really good question, because people ask a lot of general questions, but this is very specific. Post-patch, what mistakes do people make a lot? And it's that people don't adapt well. People stick to what they know is true from previous meta, but that doesn't carry over into this meta. Things changed, the way you play the game kind of changed, and you just need to understand the core fundamentals and bring that into every single meta, because core fundamentals don't change. Like how can you make the most use of your gold, like what is the most amount of tempo you can get, and that changes every meta. Right now it's taunt builds, most tempo you can get, when can you level, how greedy can you play. So basically all the guides combined that I did in the past on like basic knowledge on the game should just be applied to every single meta, but people stick with how things used to work. Like power leveling was good previous meta, picking Elise or picking economy heroes was good, but right now you just die because things changed. So the biggest mistake is that you stick to what you know or think is good, even though it's not good anymore. Keep in mind the core basics of the game, and then you should always be fine. Meti Herub, oh, I can't pronounce that, I'm really sorry. Meti, I'll just tell you that. What do you think about forcing a certain comp? When is it good? When is it bad? It's almost always bad. You never want to force unless you're a very specific hero that your biggest odds of winning are forcing a certain composition. Like Jiraxis, you want to play demons. Maleficent, obviously going max is good. You don't always force max, but it's good. Arana forcing party rock with elementals is also very good. unless you don't roll it like me and you get top 8 every time, but I've seen it be good. But yeah, don't force. I said I force a lot of taunts and mechs, and that's... I don't think I force it, but I lean into it, which is the difference. I set myself up for it. Like if I see a deflector, I take it. If I see modules, I pick good mechs. Like I set myself up for mechs. But if I hit a Bran or a Lightfang or a Kalig, I still have the option to switch into something, to go menagerie, to transition. So I always keep my options open, but I lean into something, so that way if I hit the good stuff, I can go in. I usually lean into taunt builds. I pick a lot of taunt stuff. If I find a Kiraj, I'll just pick it, and maybe I go out of it, but often I stick with it if I find more key pieces. If you're someone who really likes forcing certain compositions, try this instead. Try to lean into it, but be open and mindful that if you hit other direction, it's probably better to make a little bit of a switch into something more scalable. Yeah, please don't just blindly force anything. Then 12, where? When is it too late to pivot? I always feel like when I try to, I get stumped immediately. Again, I have a full guide on this, which is part of my mid-game guide. I talk all about transitioning, the one-turn transitions, the slow transitions, how to do them, how they work. So just check it out. But in short, your main issue is that you said you die immediately, and that's probably because you have a board and you try to transition and you end up weaker. Probably after you transition, you have a weaker board and then you die. So like a good example is Kaligos. If you hit Kaligos, instead of selling your entire board and buy dragons to fill your board, which is very slow, you're going to be weaker next turn, maybe even 2 turns from then you die. So the best thing to do is slowly pick up dragons, slowly play buffs, and that way you're gonna still increase your board in strength, not die, be strong, and then your transition will be a little bit slower, it will be a little bit longer, but you're gonna be stronger along the way and take less damage and probably survive. So one turn transitions are very risky. Only do them if you know you have the health to work with, if you can take a big hit, or if you know you're actually just gonna blow up and be insanely strong and, yeah, not sacrifice too much. To answer the first question, when is it too late to pivot? It's never too late, except for when it's the last fight. I mean, even if it's a lost fight, you can just, even if you know you can't win the last fight, you can just buy a lot of self as heroes, spores, max nas, something like that. So you can actually pivot at any point in the game. Then Kelsier, what triples at round 1 are bait, or is less bait with certain heroes? Again, this is something I talk about in my early game video and in my 10 things you don't know about Battlegrounds video. But in short, every triple that just messes up with your economy and that is bad is not worth it. The example that I gave was the 1-2 Murloc, the Tide Color. If you find 3 Tide Colors on turn 1 or turn 3, you don't want to take it, because on turn 3, which is 5 gold, you'll have to buy 1 freeze and you float 2 gold. So instead of buying 2 2-star units, you buy a 1-star, you float 2 gold, and next turn you buy another 1-star, you get a 2-4 in total, and you get a 3-star. You're just going to be off much weaker. So only really strong 1-star pairs, such as Micromummy, I think it's mainly Micromummy, maybe even Wrath Weaver, those are worth it because they're really strong. But make sure you don't sacrifice your economy, your tempo, fill out your curve nicely. Token triples are also not really bait because, well, it's tokens, it's economy, so it usually fills in with your curve nicely. Very often they're bait, especially really early on. On 6 gold, maybe not, but you can even go for a tier 4 or 5 unit at that point. Brand Z, how do you think the new minion type will work? That's the final question. And I don't know, dude. They gave us no info. They just said Quilboars are happening. Have fun. Yeah, we have to wait. Like, they haven't released anything yet. I've had a lot of people brainstorm though. I talked about it in the last Yapod episode, and I asked you guys to brainstorm about how they could scale, like how you make another scaling in Battlegrounds. And a lot of people had a lot of cool suggestions in the comments below. So if you want some inspiration, you can check down there. But yeah, I honestly don't know. There's so many things they can still implement in Battlegrounds, and we can't pinpoint which one it is gonna be. It's just a bunch of speculation, but I'm very excited to see what is gonna happen though, because it's a Battleground specific tribe, Battleground specific unit, so it's nothing coming over from standard, which is even more exciting because that means they have a lot of design space to work with. Alright, and that was it. That was this Q&A. Thanks again for watching. Now I want to thank the sponsor, Our Player Rewards. If you haven't checked them out yet, you can literally earn money just playing games. The link is down below. It's in the App Store. It's available in the US soon. It's also in other countries. Thanks again for sponsoring the channel. Have a good day and good luck on the Battlegrounds.